Got some first-round games.
Welcome back, as always. Robert just ruining the intro. It's the Fourth and One podcast at Fourth and One podcast everywhere you get your podcasts. Instagram at Fourth and One podcast, TikTok at Fourth and One pod. We're coming to you live from Lancaster, Lititz, and Williamstown, Pennsylvania. It is your boys, Simeon, a.k.a., with the interrupter himself, Robert. And as always, the man holding down the introverted chair, it is Captain Boring Micaiah. Gentlemen, it's good to see you all back. Robert, I'm glad you didn't float away from your vacation, I'm assuming.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah, glad we missed you last week. We got a full schedule here for you. So we're going to go ahead and jump right on into it. We got no big news. Go ahead and check out our YouTube channel. That's the biggest news we got. Pac-12, some restructuring going on, Mountain West going on, for a little update on me and Robert's take on what's going on there. Obviously, at Fourth and One podcast, if you're trying to find us, all spelled out, all one word. Pretty straightforward. No big news otherwise, and we got a lot of games to cover going on. But per usual, we can't do it the regular way. We got to be different, do different, be better, do better. So we are going to, I wish I had a little class bell. Let me, hold on. I have the perfect soundbite for this.
Oh my goodness.
It is our mom. We were homeschooled. Me and Micaiah were. So class is now in session, and it's time to hand out some grades. We're into week 4, I believe, was last week. If I'm remembering correctly, Micaiah's looking confused at me right now. That's never a good sign.
Yeah, because you hit the thing and no one could hear it.
Oh, well.
I heard it.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Yeah.
Did you?
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the 5th time it's played.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Oh
weird.
my goodness.
We're just gonna hit that button over and over.
It's a take that I took from Mom for something audio, something I did for her for like a sizzle reel. It was good. It's her saying "Oh my goodness" in her Midwestern accent. Shout out to Northwestern Ohio. But you two are going to hand out some grades from this week, F through A plus. How they're doing so far with last week. Maybe break it down a little bit last week, and we're going to start with the game that probably shouldn't have been a game. I had USC plus 5.5 at Michigan, and they looked like they were going to give me 4 up until Nikhil. I almost called him Nikhil Mullins, which is not his name. Please correct me. Somebody save me.
Khalil Mullins.
Khalil Mullins popped off a run, and they ended up winning by 3-4 points. I don't remember. I wasn't able to watch it because I had to do other things, and that made me upset. I don't think you understand. So let's start with both Michigan and USC grades. How did they look last week? Robert, we'll start with you.
I would give Michigan B minus. And I would probably give USC a B minus too. I mean, they were kind of equal teams, minus the fact that Michigan throws the ball about as much as I do right now. But they played Michigan football. They just ran the ball and ran the ball and ran the ball and ran the ball. And I mean, the defense was there and the defense wasn't there at times. I mean, it's like a very high C plus B minus kind of performance. A win's a win. USC could not run the ball, but they sure could throw the ball. USC's defense also looked a lot better than recent years. So a pick 6 kind of changed the game.
I'm gonna give Michigan a B plus. Still very nice to know that they can play
That's
Michigan.
on the season, correct?
No, that's just for this game.
Okay, no, I'm talking. We're giving grades on the season, including last game.
Oh, a grade on the season. Then I'm still gonna give Michigan a B plus.
Okay.
And at this point, I'm going to give USC I'm going to give USC a B-. I kind of like that grade. Saturday was a great representation of college football teams always win a game they should lose and lose a game they should win, and it's not always in the same week. USC lost a game it should have won on Saturday. Not saying Michigan should have won a game it should have lost, but USC should be kicking themselves a little bit for Saturday's disappointment.
Yeah, and I'm looking real dumb at saying Miller. Is it Miller Moss? Is that his?
Yep.
Miller Moss was going to be a Heisman contender.
Long season still could.
He didn't play bad against Michigan.
No,
I mean, listen. Will Johnson made a good play. Other than that, the Michigan secondary was just garbage. I'll say it. Like
Micaiah
Moss looked good.
Micaiah Page needs to learn how to either cover a deep half or learn how to catch the ball.
Or just play defense.
He needs to do one or the other because he can't cover his deep half of the field. And he's dropped, this season alone, he's dropped about 7 interceptions.
Listen, you're going to love this because Micaiah Page this year is literally the defensive Cornelius Johnson.
Yep. He's
frozen. And I hate this because I can't see anyone's reaction because you're frozen.
Okay.
It's okay.
Well,
you
were
back.
frozen.
You're back. Okay.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, that was a good one. Micaiah Page is the defensive version of Cornelius Johnson. Absolutely.
Yes.
Every time.
I want to head out to the West. It's going to actually be the Holy War. I'm going to give you guys use 2 to quote Robert. I know they didn't play each other, but they both played very different games that told us very different things. And they're both sitting atop the Big 12 right now. It's kind of 2 of the newer comers. That's what she said. Utah and BYU, Brigham Young University. Micaiah, we'll go ahead and start with you.
I'm going to give Utah an A at this point in time. Without Cam Rising, they're still playing their game, but they're more effective than they were last year at it with Isaac Wilson. That is Zach Wilson's brother.
Shout out Zach Wilson's brother.
Playing good defense, running the ball with Mekhi Bernard. Dominating the line of scrimmage, going on the road and doing it. And then for BYU, for a team whose over-under to start the season was 4.5, I'm going to give them an A2 because they've won 4 straight games to start their season, including over the Big 12 favorite, Kansas State. We'll get into them a little later. They're 1-0 in the conference. They're doing a great job. Their defense is 18th in the nation at 13 points a game. So they're playing defense, they're running the football, and they're taking care of the football as well. However, their rushing leader on the year is their quarterback, so something to keep an eye on there.
I'm actually going to give them both the same grade, so I'm going to go with an A- for both. Both team schedules really weren't that great in the beginning of the season. This is the first time that both of them actually played like a really tough opponent, I'll say. BYU manhandles Kansas State, and then Utah just beats Oklahoma State. It's going to come down to the Holy War, and the winner of that Holy War gets an A+. So right now they're both an A- because they're both playing great football. They're winning. They're going out. They're doing their job, and they're doing their thing, and they're doing it in fashion. I guess their only downsides are in the Big 12. Because at any moment they could just be like, we're not playing in football anymore, and then they could drop to like a B or a C. So,
wow. Okay. Fast and concise. I can't hate on it. The Friday night game was intense. I liked it. All the games on Friday were intense. And here's the funny thing. Lots of red and lots of orange, 2 colors you don't normally see together. But the 2 teams I want to talk about is Robert's Lord and Savior, Dylan Raiola, the true freshman quarterback in Nebraska, taking on number 24. I don't know. Was that Micaiah? Was that the ranking last week, or is this?
No, that was last week.
It's not number 24 Illinois. They're higher. They're like 16 or 15 or something like that this week.
They're 19.
19. Thank you. The 2 eyes. It was a teen. The two eyes are at the top of the Big Ten. Micaiah, you wanted to talk about conference Indiana and Illinois. Who would have thought? Those are currently the top of the Big Ten. They're both sitting at 4-0 on the season. So let's go ahead and let's grade Illinois and Nebraska.
Well, first and foremost, I called this game upset. It was my upset of the week.
You did?
I called it. I
You
said Illinois is going to be the first team that can match up physically with Nebraska, and that's what happened on Saturday night. I'm going to give Illinois, because I did not expect this from Illinois at all, 4-0. I'm going to give them an A. Just at this point in the season, to their season, they get an A. They went on the road and won. They also beat Kansas, who at the time, Kansas was number 19. Kansas is a lot worse than what we thought that they would be. They're taking care of business. I'm going to give Nebraska, because I kind of half expected that this is how this season would start for them. I'm going to give them a B+, kind of right there on the fringe. They're kind of doing exactly what I expected them to do. So no shockers there. I'm very, very impressed, though, with Dylan Raiola. He looks like he's a redshirt freshman and not a true freshman starting his first set of college games in Lincoln, Nebraska. So very impressed with Dylan Raiola, but Nebraska's doing what I expected. So B+ and A-, or A, excuse me.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with those grades, really. I mean, Illinois is playing the most un-Illinois football that they have in the past couple of years. 2 ranked wins already within their first 4 games. They just physically outmatched Nebraska, even though I think it was an overtime game. So I think an A is fitting for them. B+ for Nebraska. Nebraska's playing better than what they have in the past couple of years. Dylan Raiola, I think, is a big help for that, because he's slinging the rock and they're actually kind of playing decent football, and Matt Rule's really kind of getting them going together. So I think a B+ really fits for them. Also, Dylan Raiola brother is also committed to Nebraska, and he's also a quarterback, so I don't know how that's going to go, but
We're going to find out.
Yeah.
Sitting behind his brother. It's one of the ways to do it, I guess. Let's actually flip it up a little bit. Give me a grade on Indiana, who you guys told me right before we kicked off here has set a school record for number of points. Am I remembering this correctly?
Yeah, number of points through the first 4 games.
Through the first 4 games, which is an interesting stat, but good job. Congrats to those guys. And Kirk Cognettes, however you pronounce his last name, old team JMU, who sits top of this Fun Belt right now, and beat North Carolina. They beat them so bad, I think they benched 2 quarterbacks. Could be wrong about that. But they beat them bad. 70-20, I believe, is what the final score was.
No, 70-50.
Oh, 50. Okay.
That's a basketball score at a basketball school. So I'll start with Indiana. I guess I'm going first in all of these, just because. Okay. Indiana. Super did not expect this. However, their schedule was not tough at all. But what I did not expect was this offensive outburst. 31-77, that was over an FCS. 42 over UCLA that went to Baton Rouge and played LSU tough. And then 52 against Charlotte, and Charlotte's on like the bottom 10. They're so terrible. But it's the offense that is getting this grade, and I'm going to give them, at this point, an A+. Because no one expected this from Indiana's offense, and I'm just speaking specifically from their offense. So in A+ for Indiana. And then JMU, I'm also going to give them an A, because I did not expect them to lose their head man in Kirk Cognettes and still be able to retool, rebound, and get this thing done. They didn't just go in and beat an FBS school, everybody. They went in and dominated an FBS school. Yes, they had 5 first half turnovers at North Carolina, but North Carolina couldn't stop them. 25 in the first quarter, 28 in the second. Then they only scored 17 the entire third and fourth quarter combined. But it was just they dominated North Carolina. I'm going to give JMU an A as well. So A+ for Indiana's offense and A for JMU Dukes.
I would give Indiana an A for right now. Obviously, because their offense is playing lights out. But, I mean, their biggest win right now would be UCLA, which UCLA is kind of falling off the rails right now on themselves. But, I mean, but it's also Indiana, and you never expect Indiana to be really good at anything other than basketball. In the case of JMU, I think I'm just gonna I'm gonna play it safe. I'm gonna give them a B+.
Yeah.
Hey, that's your guy.
That's fair.
That's your guy at head coach.
Yeah, that's Chesney. And the hard thing with JMU is, yes, beating North Carolina. That's one of those big program building wins. My big thing with North Carolina is North Carolina's season kind of came unraveled after week 1, because wasn't it like their quarterback went down, like they lost him for the season?
Yeah.
So it's like it's one of those scenarios where it's a team. They're still a good team.
I forgot they lost Max Johnson.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
It's such a hard thing because you want to give JMU so much credit for this win because it's such a huge win. Like either way you spin, it's a big win. But it's like North Carolina. I think North Carolina is just going to kind of end in more turmoil than what they want because you can't have as many turnovers at home as you had, and just let a team like JMU do what they did.
I mean, they still put up 50 points, right? They still let 50 points walk through.
Yeah, so it's like you take the turnovers away. Does JMU, still win that game? And so but again, you can't take anything away from JMU. They still played a great game, 5 touchdowns from their quarterback alone. They just ran the ball like 23 yards on the ground.
The combined total yardage for this game was 1,227 yards. North Carolina had 616 yards. JMU had 611. JMU dominated time of possession. I'm only giving them an A, Robert. I agree with you because you go back a week and JMU beat Gardner Webb
13-6. Yeah,
13-6. Right? It's just shocking in the way that they did it. It was like, wow.
Yeah. And it's definitely an unexpected result based off of the score because you don't see, especially a 70-50 score,
right?
Unless you want to go back to like LSU, Texas A&M, those two dumpster fires.
But hanging a 70 burger. Okay, say North Carolina turns around. By the way, I don't know if you all saw, Robert.
In regulation, by the way, this was in regulation. Right. We're not talking because I'm looking at West Washington State, San Jose State, 54-52 on Friday.
Robert, Mac Brown says he's going to get this thing back on track or he will resign. Did you see that?
I mean, he's probably going to resign.
I mean, he's going to either resign or get fired. Listen, this is when it comes to the end of the year and we're talking which group of five should get in. JMU can raise their hand and go, we hung 70 in Chapel Hill, and no one else is going to be able to say that. So,
well, I mean, it's another one of those things they're going to say, yeah, we hung 70, but if North Carolina ends up going 5-7.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, listen, they need North Carolina to finish within the top 25. If they finish within the top 25 and JMU only has one loss or something like that, can be like, hey, we only have one loss and we put 70 on these guys. They beat. It just really hurts North Carolina because every team on their schedule is not ranked right now. But
if North Carolina finishes like 8-4 and is like looking good at the end of the year,
it looks a lot better.
Right.
Yeah.
And they got 11 votes for the AP poll for week 5 here.
Which that's it's a valid argument for them to be in the top 25. At this point, anyone can be in the top 25.
Yeah, but again, they only beat Gardner Webb by 7 last week.
Right.
In a very low scoring affair. Sorry, I had my next team that I wanted to talk about. Tennessee, Oklahoma. That was a fun game to watch, at least for me. Tennessee, Texas is now my new, depending on what Georgia does, but I think they're about to fall apart. Who knows? Tennessee, Texas could be your national championship there. Boy, did Rocky Top look good. Micaiah, give me grades.
Yeah, I'm gonna give Tennessee the whole program. I'm gonna give like an A-. Okay, they played one good game, but I'm gonna give that defense especially A+. No one expected Tennessee to actually have a defense that could dominate the line of scrimmage the way that they have. So I'm gonna give Tennessee an A-. In terms of Texas, Texas. I'm also going to give Texas an A- just because. You know what? No, I'm going to change that to an A+. I'm giving Texas an A+. They're the number one team in the country. They went into Michigan and they dominated Michigan. Yes, quarterbackless Michigan, but it was still. The most surprising thing to me is they have two starting caliber quarterbacks, one in Arch Manning, one in Quinn Ewers. They're dominating the line of scrimmage. They're running the ball. They're being efficient. By the way, this is their third string running back they're doing this with. Their first two got hurt. So Jaden Blue is like their third string running back or even their fourth string running back that just popped off for 25 carries and 124 yards. So
more like Jaden Blue by ya. I wanted
nice.
Give me your grade 3 here, number 3 on Oklahoma.
Oklahoma grade. Yeah, I'm actually this is gonna be my lowest grade for this. I'm gonna go a C+ for Oklahoma. I expected a lot more. Defense, very good. If I was grading their defense, B+. They're kind of carrying the team right now. I don't know what happened to the high explosive offenses that was just last year. And it's Seth Luttrell, which was the offensive coordinator for Lane Kiffin at one point in time. And he was the offensive coordinator or the quarterback's coach for Jeff Lebby, who was the offensive coordinator last year for this team. So I don't know where the offense is. They did find a little rhythm in who played mop-up duty last week, who kind of got them the 15 points. Hawkins.
After they benched
what's
his face?
So Hawkins actually had some juice a little bit. We'll see if that kind of helps them moving forward. But yeah, very disappointment so far. What I say, C+, C-.
Very disappointment is great. I didn't know you were Chinese. Robert, I guess you got those 3 teams.
I don't think you can say that.
What?
So, Tennessee. I'm going to give Tennessee an A.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could consider Oklahoma like the first really big matchup. They did play NC State when NC State was they were at least ranked.
People thought they were good.
Yeah. I mean, Tennessee's offense is just rolling, and their defense is playing very well. So, and I think an A suits them. I don't want to give them an A+ yet, just because they need to beat Alabama in order to get that A+, because that's like that's the hump. That's the SEC hump. You beat Alabama, you get over the hump. Unfortunately, they then have to go and play at Georgia. But right now,
one thing at a time.
Yes, exactly. Texas, it's hard not to give Texas an A+ because that team is just dominant. I mean, they are just beating the brakes off of every person that touches the field.
Yeah.
I think we're starting to see that Quinn is definitely the better quarterback than Arch. Archie is still very good, but Quinn is definitely better.
NFL scouts have got to be concerned. In every single year Quinn has started, so 3 years now, he has missed multiple weeks in every single season with some sort of injury. Like, that's got to be concerning.
With NFL scouts, though, there hasn't been an NFL scout right about any of these damn quarterbacks in the past, 4 years.
I mean, who had Jalen Daniels
that's
breaking
true,
records?
But Rob, you can't.
Yeah, it's an issue, 100%.
That's one thing.
Okay, I don't know. What was his injury? Hold on, because I have a theory here.
So now it's an oblique. So the first year, Alabama landed on it,
didn't he?
Landed on his shoulder.
What is it this year?
It's his oblique.
It's his oblique, and that's both weeks that he's been out.
Yeah.
A week and a half.
A week and a half.
Right, yeah, a week and a half. They played UN Monroe. No, dude, sit. I know you're fine. I know you're 100% or at least 95%. Arch will take it and throw for 258. You think he was out? Because I think that's what happened. I think it was the conversation Starks had.
I think the hard part is I think Quinn knows that Arch is good enough to keep this team going.
Yeah.
And Quinn doesn't want to lose his job, because if Arch comes out and then it's just like touchdown, 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 and it's like, well, this guy keeps getting hurt, let's just keep it. It kind of divulges into this Cade McNamara, JJ McCarthy scenario where you have two of them, both of them are good, and one of them gets hurt, the other one's in, kind of deal.
Hurts and Tua, yeah.
Yeah. But how did Hurts and Tua come into that? Oh, okay.
It was the same situation.
I thought when I said hurt and then you said Hurts, I was like, wait, what?
No.
No, you
should retire, gosh darn it.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think Quinn just wants, I think Quinn's never about losing his job, because obviously there's a lot of media push. You know, it's very easy to market Manning. It's kind of harder to media or market Quinn. You know, but I mean, the team's just so damn good right now that
you're going to need Quinn down the stretch. I mean, I
100%.
I said in the Michigan game, I said, listen, Quinn was making plays that, like, it's a first-year starter, he's getting sacked in those plays, but because he's a veteran, he knew to step up, keep two hands on the ball, someone's coming open down the field. And you saw that on Saturday with USC. Miller Moss, there was opportunities for Miller Moss to step up, avoid the rush, but nope. You know, the protection wasn't set. He got sacked. So you're going to need him when you host Georgia, when you roll into Bama. Yep, SEC title game. You're going to need a veteran leader back there. Absolutely.
So off the beaten path of how you said about stepping up into the pocket, another player who really struggled with stepping up into the pocket and getting out, who did a lot better last week against Baylor, was Shadur.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
All right, guys.
Almost
grade.
Oh, all right.
Colorado.
Hey, I gave you my grade. Oklahoma, C+.
No.
C+ B-.
Grade for Colorado. Give me a grade for Colorado.
Oh, grade for Colorado? C- D+.
Okay, now go on to your Shooter thing.
I'm gonna go C+ for them, because there is improvement in the offensive line and defensive line, just not the philosophy of the team. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, they're kind of like a goofy team at the moment where they don't have an identity, even though they think they do.
They are 15.5-point dogs on the road at UCF this week.
Okay, I just want you to know.
Did you see that?
Listen, I took that. I already called it. I'm calling it now. I already took it for my picks. So,
are you taking Colorado plus the points?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean that's
dude. How?
That's a
how
huge
is UCF
line.
a 14.5-point favorite?
Well, yeah, this is not talking about Colorado's ability to win or whatever. This is talking about why does Vegas have so much faith in UCF? What have they done? Holy cow. I like how you're like, I called it already.
I'm on it. Nope, give me that one. If I'm going to lose, it's going to be that one. Give me that one.
We're right about Washington State. Sorry, throwback to 3 weeks ago at this point, or 2 weeks ago. When I didn't know Washington State beat Washington. I thought I had that flipped in my mind that Washington won that game.
No.
And
I talked about that last week. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was producing.
It was just you and me last week, bud.
I was producing. Listen, I kind of let you
Rob,
go off sometimes.
Grade the finish of Colorado Baylor, though.
The finish?
The finish.
So,
heck of a finish.
It was a great finish. It would have been better if it was like a bigger, like Hail Mary.
A longer one, sure.
Yeah. It shouldn't have come to that in the first place, but that's just kind of how it is. I remember, you said to me, if I thought that Baylor could beat Colorado or Colorado could beat Baylor, it was one of the two, and I was like, Baylor should win the game,
right?
But Colorado gets shitty and they win these games, and what happened? They get a Hail Mary. And then they go to overtime and I'm like, that's the most Colorado thing right now.
They ran the ball 42 times. So for 91 yards, 2.2 yards a carry. They still can't run, but at least now they're committed to it.
Yeah.
So there's that. Shadur, though, dude, the resiliency on Shadur is something that sports psychologists should play over and over. He was before the Hail Mary, he was sacked 4 times in 5 plays. How he gets up, he was sacked 7 times on Saturday. How he gets up and continues to fire strikes and look downfield, although their offense, like just let him play a team that can get home with their front 4, and Shadur's cooked.
Right, and it's like when they played against Nebraska, like he wouldn't step up into the pocket, he wouldn't try and get out, he wouldn't take the easy 5-yard run and get out of bounds. Like he would try to force everything or just run and get hit. Where it's like against Baylor, he kind of was like getting up into the pocket, he was moving, and he looked like a better quarterback. And those games are the ones where NFL scouts are going to look back and go, see, this is what he can do. But then other scouts are going to go, yeah, but then let's look at when he played against North Dakota State. Let's look when he played against Nebraska, when he has like stone feet.
Yeah.
And but I mean, he's getting better. I don't know if he just needs like that get going. But I still don't like Colorado just because it's Colorado and they're 3-1 and 1-0 in the conference because they're playing in a baby Big 12 conference where BYU and Utah are the 2 top dogs right now.
And they're getting 15.5 at UCF. Simeon, my last question to Robert, then I'll let you take back over. Travis Hunter at this point, dude, he's got to be at the top of the Heisman. What he's doing athletically is just insane. I mean, he was off the field for like 5 plays on Saturday, another $130 through the air. He forced that fumble at the end to end the game in overtime. I just, whatever you think of Colorado, Travis Hunter is a tremendous athlete. And as of right now, them sitting at 3-1, I would put him at the top of my Heisman list.
Yeah, I mean the dude balls out every time he goes out there, no matter kind of what I think of him or what anyone else ever thinks of him. He plays, very good ball. The hard part is it's like, yeah, he's double duty, but like he's not the best at either of them right now.
He's a much better wide receiver, I think, 100%. Than he is a corner. Yeah.
And like he's not, I think he's like, even though his statistics, like he's 6th in wide receiver right now at receiving. So it's like, that's really good. But if you're going to be a Heisman, you got to be the best at something. You have to be the best.
Yeah.
Like Grant. And I think the hard part is just the fact that it's the nature of the beast. Like he's not even, I think, top 50 as a corner right now. Like Will Johnson, to me, is a better corner than what he is.
Any injury update on Will Johnson?
Yeah.
Simeon, get your next question ready.
So Sorry. He came, Sharon said that he came back out with his helmet and everything, and Michigan said, and like Sharon said, no, he wasn't going back in.
So he was ready to go. So
he was ready to go. I'm wondering if now that like it's a day or two later, like maybe pain or whatever is setting in. I'm more worried about Colson Loveland. Because I said you could tell that was his shoulder, and then he went back in.
It was the other shoulder, though.
Yeah, but then when he went back in, and then he came right back out because he was like, I can't do this, and then doesn't play against USC, like, and then we throw for 30 yards. Like, that dude's kind of the bloodline of the passing game for us right now.
Yeah, so if you want to go whole hog with this running thing and basically make your running game your pass game, right, and run for 300 yards a game, that's fine. But then I'm going to flip it and I say, okay, so for these air raid teams, I always say if you want to throw for 1,000 yards in a game and 95 times in a game, that's fine. But you got to run for 100 yards on the ground. You got to keep the defense honest, right?
Yeah.
Well, Alex Orji has to throw for 100 yards a game. That's it. If you want to play this system, that's fine. You just have to figure out how to manufacture 100 passing yards a game from Alex Orji. And Colson Loveland, they need him back in order to help with that. And that's just it. So that's a point I wanted to make. I thought that was a cool analogy I thought of on my drive today. So,
way to be, Micaiah. Way to be. Okay, last rankings here is Missouri and Vanderbilt. What are their grades?
They played a heck of a game. Absolutely. Probably was the game of the day before Colorado Baylor happened. Listen, for Missouri, they are effing around, and at some point they're going to find out. I'm going to give them at this point a B minus, teetering on a C plus, because they have just kind of messed around with every team they've played. Every good team, I should say. So Murray State and Buffalo, yeah, shutouts, blowouts. Boston College, they were down 14-0. Vanderbilt probably should have lost. There was a college kicker situation, both in regulation for Vanderbilt and in overtime, and they sneaked out that win. I expected them to be a little more dominant, I guess I could say. Their defense, yeah, is 12th or is 14th in the nation, but like they're not doing anything excellent. They're good, 40th in passing, 28th in rushing. And then for Vanderbilt, at this point, I'm giving you a B plus. Did not expect that. Yes, you lost to Georgia State, which hurts you. You played Missouri tough. I want to see how the rest. You beat Virginia Tech in week 1. I want to see how the rest of your season plays out. But I didn't think you'd get to 4 wins and you're halfway there. So B plus for Vandy.
I guess that's the beauty of college football. I'm gonna give Vandy a B plus.
Yeah,
because they're in no way, shape, or form did I think they would beat Virginia Tech week 1. Beating Alcorn State, whatever. Losing to Georgia State, you expect that from Vandy. Yeah. But then they play balls out against Missouri. Missouri right now for me is like a D plus C minus, because that team should just be beating the brakes off of everybody. Every team that they've played right now, they should just be molly-whopping them. But they're not. They're playing the same. They're like the difference between Missouri and Michigan right now. If you put them side by side, other than the fact that we know that Michigan doesn't throw the ball, we'd be like, who's who?
I'll say it. I think Michigan at this point is the better team because they have their identity. Michigan knows who they are. Right, wrong, or indifferent, Michigan knows who they are. I don't think Missouri knows who they are yet.
I think my biggest problem with Missouri is the fact that they're not even like Arthur Burden. I was hands down Luther Burden. What did I say, Arthur? Doesn't matter at this point because he's a who's who on this team. I 100% would like. I don't know if I said in the beginning or not, but I was like, this guy's going to be the Biletnikoff winner. This guy right here, and he's like second with 250 yards on 19 catches. They're just not. They're not doing what they did last year. They didn't like last year. They threw the ball. This year they're like,
Last year they kind of messed around with a lot of teams too. Remember Kansas State? They needed a 63-yard field goal to win. They needed. They played Georgia tough but couldn't get it done. Like they played a lot of. They played Kentucky, I think, really close last year. So they've just. I don't know. It feels like they're figuring out ways to win. But you can't do that forever. At some point, you got to walk in a game knowing that you're going to win if you're going to be right?
This is our TCU.
Yeah. They're winning all these one-possession games sort of deal. Obviously not against the FCS schools, but yeah, like that's a great analogy. Absolutely.
I'll say, looking over the schedules that you guys have, do you guys know what the cheapest game to watch is this week?
I don't. NC State, Northern Illinois, that's got to be pretty cheap.
It is, but it's not the cheapest game.
Houston, Iowa State?
It is not Houston, Iowa State.
Massachusetts, Miami of Ohio.
It's not Massachusetts, Miami of Ohio. Can you believe that it's not? What even is that game? Wait, hold on. That's the wrong.
It's like a $6 game, isn't it?
Probably.
It's $17. It's $17.
Okay. The $2 game is South Florida at Tulane.
Oh, I did.
In Yulman.
Why does Tulane always have the cheapest tickets?
Hold on.
Because they don't.
There's a hurricane coming.
Okay.
There is a hurricane coming.
But isn't it going to smack Florida?
Yeah, but you're still gonna get some pretty terrible weather.
Tulane always has the cheapest tickets because they have a hard time building a fan base because there's other crap to do in New Orleans, and
It's
a
hot.
Saints. It's
Also-
hot. It's a Saints town. It's not, or a Pelicans town. It's not necessarily a college town. You have LSU fans that are going up to Baton Rouge, that sort of thing.
Tulane, if they really wanted to and they wanted to make a statement, they could file to join the SEC, and the SEC has to say yes.
Yes, because
Which
they
is
used to be members.
amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
dude, that's kind of an
I would
ace in
rather
the back pocket for them during this whole realignment. You know, the American starts to crumble or whatever.
The next big money deal, I'd be like,
it's-
throw me in.
It's
I
like,
don't care
hey,
how bad we are.
we went back in. Here are our rights that are still
Yep.
active.
Well, I mean, like, it's one of the best sporting, like, culture towns in America is New Orleans. So I don't know why you
The
wouldn't.
weather just sucks.
The weather does suck, but, like, I
Did
don't
you
know,
see-
what you want. They've played great games against Oklahoma and Kansas
That was my
State.
deciding factor.
this year.
Did you see no one even went to the LSU UCLA game because it was 2:30 in the afternoon and it was like 120 degrees with the humidity on
Yeah,
Saturday?
dude. Who wants
So
to go to that?
No one's like, no. Robert, real quick grades for these two teams because I do want your opinion. Texas A&M, LSU. Quick grades.
I'm gonna go B's.
Peace.
Just B and B because I think they're average.
I think
Yeah.
LSU. I think
I
LSU
think-
is C plus. I actually have an opinion on this.
Okay. Well,
Maybe a C minus.
I would agree with LSU.
Throw it out, brother.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think. Listen, their expectation. I was expecting Micaiah to talk over to me because he doesn't think I'm smart.
I talked over Micaiah, so
I think LSU's expectation at the seasons were like they were one win away, last year, and I think we realized, much like Florida State, how much it was the quarterback, or even Florida for that matter, with Anthony Richardson.
F's for both of those, by the way.
And you look at Texas A&M. I don't hate that, Micaiah. Like, I don't. You look at Texas A&M. To me, to be fair, Texas A&M is Texas A&M. So they're like 500. They're a C. But LSU, I was like, I would thought better of you.
Yeah,
I was expecting you guys to do something. You have a better
No, I was
coach,
saying
you have
F's
a better
to Florida
recruit.
and Florida State.
Oh, yeah,
dude.
100%.
Yeah,
Get
yeah.
a
Sorry.
foul. Regulation to FCS. Those teams are garbage.
Well,
State of
I-
Florida,
I
other
wa-
than Miami, is
I'd rather have
garbage.
Miami and FIU or something like that right now. Yeah.
God.
Let me put it this way: if I'm buying stock in Texas A, if I'm buying stock in college football teams, I am buying so much stock in Texas A&M.
I'm buying stock in Texas A&M, and I'm continuing to dump my LSU stock.
Marcel Reed, their quarterback, that they may have just stumbled upon.
Yeah,
Dude,
he's gonna be.
he's gonna be impressive. Just give
Yeah.
him a hot minute.
All right, we're gonna look forward. We got some interesting games coming up. We're gonna leave the best for last, and gentlemen, you
Absolutely.
know what that means.
We do.
But let's go ahead and start with an undefeated Louisville going to not Fort Wayne. Oh my gosh, where is Notre Dame located at? How am I blanking on this right now?
South Bend.
South Bend.
Thank you.
Fort Wayne.
Wow. Okay.
Kind of close. I know, right? We're having a rough day
Isn't
today,
that
guys.
where just Indiana in general is?
Fort Wayne, Indiana is located in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
No, like Indiana, the college.
Indiana is in Fort. No. Fort Wayne.
Or
No,
is that
that's
Purdue?
Bloomington.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
Indiana's in Bloomington. Purdue's in
Purdue?
West Lafayette.
Correct.
West
Correct.
Lafayette.
Who's in? And how did you get Fort Wayne? Who's in Fort Wayne?
Sweetwater, a music company sales, like a music
All
store,
right.
an online music store.
Nothing to do with football at
Nice.
all.
I
Sweet.
think there's technically a Purdue University, Indiana University of Fort
Oh,
Wayne,
yeah.
like one of those
Probably.
that dumb
Okay.
Yeah,
school,
yeah,
you know,
Yeah.
one of
The
those
dumb-
dumb
yeah.
things. Okay, but let's go look at an undefeated Louisville team, which, guys, I was expecting to absolute tank this year after that whole switcheroo with Purdue. Speak of the devil. They are. I'm trying to find the game. They are going to South Bend, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah, South Bend. It's on Peacock, 3:30. I found it. Notre Dame's favored by 6 points. Micaiah, we'll start with you. What do you got for us?
I have that I wasn't totally prepared in listening. No, I have that. Listen, Louisville's been awfully impressive just because they've kind of kept that standard from last year. The thing with Louisville is they're going to, and every Jeff Brom team is, they'll eventually step on a rake and hit themselves right in the face, and then they'll win a game that you're just like, nah. They're not going to win that game. That game will probably come October 19th when they host Miami. They will probably rout. They will probably rout Miami. And then where do they go the next week? October 25th, Boston College. And they will probably lose by 3 touchdowns to Boston College. Robert, am I right or wrong about that prediction?
No, you're pretty spot on that one, dog.
All right. They're 18th in passing. They're 37th in rushing. Their defense is 13th in 11 points per game. They're scoring 45 a game. This is a team that knows what they want to do, which is Jeff Brom likes to pass the football, run kind of effectively is what I was talking about, supplement the run in, and this defense is just as good as last year. Meanwhile, Notre Dame still does not have a passing offense. Riley Leonard, I don't think, had a passing touchdown until Saturday. Yeah, they're good at running the ball and playing defense, but at some point you are going to have to move the football. And they are 18th in rushing yards per game and 108th in passing. Still better than Michigan, but not by that much.
Robert, do you have anything for us for this game?
I mean, the only thing Notre Dame has that is going for them is the fact they're playing at home.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, Louisville should beat Notre Dame by at least 12.
They're getting 6, bro.
Like, I mean, you were right. Riley Leonard has 1 touchdown.
Oh, let's go. I was right. Okay.
He has more INTs than he does throwing touchdowns.
Yeah, 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown. Like, that's obviously not good. But I mean,
obviously, still better than 32.
Louisville is a sneaky team because they just kind of flow underneath the radar because no one really cares about Louisville or any other team from Kentucky. So they should win this game by at least 10 plus, 10, 12. Should.
I want to give a shout out here to the college football gods. We got some great evening games, like late night games for you, and I just want to kind of shout out a couple. Boise State, Washington State. If you like watching college football, like you're a college football person and you like watching it, Boise State, Washington State is going to be a good game. That's 10 p.m. on FS1. So is 10:15 Arizona, Utah, as well as Oregon, UCLA. I probably picked the first 2 over the last one there. There is the battle for the desert. I don't know if that's what it's called, but that's what I'm calling it. New Mexico State on ESPN Plus at 8, if you're a real freak. And then we got the 7:45 game on the SEC network. This is Simeon's. This is AKA's AKA upset watch of the week right here. It is South Alabama going to Baton Rouge in a night game to pick off LSU. South Alabama, air raid, throw the ball around, throw the ball a lot, and LSU likes to get in dogfights with those types of teams. So all we need, 1 or 2 turnovers to turn into points, much like what I need in my college football dynasty. And here's your upset. So there's your upset of the week, 7:45 SEC Network, 15 minutes start after, and this is where we're going to go to next, gentlemen. It's not on your list, but it should be. The non-whiteout game that should be the whiteout game for Penn State. It's 7:30 on NBC. It is Illinois going into Happy Valley to take on number 9 Penn State. Micaiah, it's not on your list. I don't know why.
What do you mean it's not on my list?
Is it not on your list? Oh,
it's
it is.
Right
I lied.
here,
I'm sorry.
buddy.
I didn't think I saw it on your list. That's how much I don't think about Illinois and Penn State.
Okay, Illinois, again, we already gave the grades. They are kind of very impressive. Did not expect this at all. Back-to-back rowdy environments they're walking into. They went into Lincoln, and they held up their end. It was a very even game. Statistically, time of possession, everything. Turnovers, everything. And they've had a history of going into Happy Valley 2-3 years ago and beating Penn State. Nighttime is a little bit different of an environment. This is going to be a hard-nosed game. Penn State, everyone puts up points on Kent State. I'm sorry to break it to you, Penn State fans. Kent State is not good at all. They're brutal. West Virginia, great win. Bowling Green, scary win, right? Then you didn't mess around with Kent State, and now you got Illinois coming in. It's one of these things where you got to do this, and your team's got to do this because it's like good team, and then you think you get Bowling Green, and then you rebound with Kent State. So this is going to be a very interesting. They're getting 18.5 points. That spread is 18.5. That's a lot.
18.5 over under 47.5.
Considering that every whiteout game for Penn State is close, that's a lot of points.
Robert,
is this your upset of the week?
No, I wouldn't say so. I mean, this is the point in the season kind of where I start to hate things because
just now you're just starting to hate things now.
Well, the worst is because it's like, okay, Illinois is 4-0, Penn State's 3-0. Both of them are undefeated, but because one's 19 and one's 9, it's this monster upset, right?
Right.
Okay. Where, Alabama's 3-0, Georgia's 3-0, but because they're 4-2, if Alabama wins, it's an upset. Just because of and this is where I think the ranking system, pardon my French, is just stupid bullshit. But Illinois is gonna give Penn State what Penn State has not had all year, and that is another team to punch them in the mouth. And we're finally going to see what's Penn State going to do. We thought Penn State's season was going to be determined when they played USC. It could be determined this weekend, Saturday night, 7:30 against Illinois. If Illinois rolls in there, keeps the game close, and wins by a field goal or more, I mean, that derails Penn State's entire season. Because not only is it an early loss, it's also a Big Ten loss. Michigan's loss looks great right now because it was to Texas, who's the number 1 team in the country, and it wasn't a Big Ten loss. Like, this could be, because if Penn State loses this one, they got to play USC, they got to play Ohio State. That could be potentially be 3.
All of our group chats are popping off right now. Robert got a good face of Micaiah that's just making basically an O face.
Illinois has this is the best defense Penn State will face to this point in the season. Oh, and by the way, let's just look at Illinois' remaining schedule real quick. Penn State, then Purdue, then they host number 12 Michigan, then they're at 8 Oregon, Minnesota, Michigan State, Rutgers, Northwestern. Illinois, if they can find out how to kind of run this table, maybe lose to just one, they're knocking on that playoff door, which would be a shock to everybody.
No.
Well, the thing is like, them playing Michigan and beating Michigan is very realistic this year.
Oh, yeah.
Because all Michigan can do is run the damn ball.
As of right now.
Illinois is very good at stopping the run.
Yeah.
If Illinois manages to somehow skate through and have one loss in the Big Ten at the end of the year, they could be in the Big Ten championship going up against Ohio State or Oregon at this point. Or Nebraska. That's just me wishful thinking at this point. But, that's just how it is.
Robert, of course, his Lord and Savior Dylan Raiola. Oklahoma State Cowboys taking on Kansas State, Oklahoma. Both teams coming off of a loss, and embarrassing in their own ways to the state of Utah, nonetheless. This game is in Manhattan. I'm pretty sure Bill Snyder Family Stadium sounds like Manhattan. Manhattan, Kansas. 12 p.m. on ESPN. Conference game. We already knew that, though, because both of these people were in the Big 12 last year. Micaiah.
Yeah, I'm going to keep this short and quick. I'm still very high on Oklahoma State. They have got to get an identity, and they've got to get their identity back to running the football with Simeon, who?
Ollie Gordon, who only has 258 yards on the season.
Yes, they got to get back to that, or they need to say, "Hey, we're not able to run it. We need to adapt," because Alex Bowman is actually having himself quite a good season. It seems like they're still trying to find their identity. Kansas State, Robert, you put it best. They're kind of fake. We both expected a lot from them. We both expected a lot from the two teams in Kansas, and we are not getting it. To this point, this is an identity-finding game because they're both 0-1 in the conference. 2 losses makes it very difficult. Not impossible, though, to make it. We're about to find out a lot about these two teams, and I cannot wait.
This is going to be a big bounce-back game for whoever wins this. I think Kansas State kind of gets the edge just because Oklahoma, like you said, Oklahoma State doesn't know who they are or what they want to do in life. But again, not a program building win, but a season building win. This is the win that just gets you going, keeps you in the race. Pump it
up.
We're that way. I like Kansas State in this one, though. I think Kansas State's going to come off and they're going to be a little more angry and kind of because they got embarrassed. And what was that, Provo?
Yeah.
Provo. You get embarrassed in Provo.
No one gets embarrassed in Provo.
Oh,
no one puts baby.
Exactly. Yeah. No one puts a baby in Provo.
No one makes a baby in Provo.
Hey,
or they make a lot of babies. Micaiah has this one. This is his game to not watch, or a game that no one will watch. It's at 3, but it's at 3:30 on FS1. This is technically a Mountain West game, Micaiah.
Yeah.
I like it that it's on our schedule to talk about. It's the Fresno State Bulldogs going to Allegiant Stadium to take on the UNLV Running Rebs, who are currently one of the favorites coming out.
Fresno State 3-1, 1-0 in conference. And their only loss to Michigan, first game of the year. That's always going to look good, assuming Michigan kind of finds a way to only lose 3 or so games. And then the Running Rebs already have beaten Kansas, and they've beaten Houston. And they've dominated both those games. 3-point win in Kansas, but they won the turnover bout. They dominated Houston as well. Say what you will about Houston, but it's still a dominating a school in the Big 12. This is a big-time game. The UNLV is third currently because they haven't played a conference game. Fresno State is first in the Mountain West. Allegiant Stadium, Vegas, and I'm sure you guys talked about this in the realignment talk. Vegas is kind of holding up the Mountain West right now and could relaunch the Pac-12. Could things maybe possibly go that way? The fan base is starting to sell out an NFL stadium there in Allegiant Stadium. This is going to be a super fun, exciting game. However, Mikey Keene really impresses me. He's got to keep the turnovers down through 2 against Michigan. Has only thrown 2 since, but he's the veteran there, so I kind of expect Fresno to get this done.
I'm actually, Robert, I'm going to cut you off here. Kyle, Fresno,
okay.
You're expecting them to get it done? They lost to Michigan by 20. Yeah, I get it. It's Michigan. Then they beat Sacramento State, New Mexico State, who lost their entire offense, and New Mexico.
Yeah.
UNLV has beaten Houston, UTU, whoever that is. I don't care about them.
Yep.
And Kansas State by 3.
And
you don't think this is running? I think I'm taking UNLV -4, which is a great number. I think this is a 2-touchdown win by UNLV.
UNLV is 127th in the country in passing. They're 5th in rushing, 293, 127th in passing. And I just want to go and look at
so
Fresno.
Where are all their points coming from?
Fresno, the ground game. Fresno State is 34th in passing and 96th in rushing. So it's kind of like reverse kind of styles. Top 50 defenses for both of them. It's the fact that Mikey Keene is a veteran and has been in situations like this before. That's I want a veteran leader on the road. That doesn't mean they'll get it done, but because UNLV is very good, and it's the fact that Fresno State has also already played 5 games.
Hey, you do you, boo boo. Robert, do you have anything on this, or should we just move on to the next game?
I mean, you could just move on, but I think I would take Fresno State as well.
See?
Guy
They
goes.
should have beat Michigan. They really should have.
Yeah.
God bless the fact that we had Dominic Zavada just kicking 50-yard field goals left and right. But
Dude, what a name. What a name. Zavada. Love it.
Yeah.
Interesting. The Wikipedia page for Mikey Keene, the template below redshirt is being considered for deletion. See templates for discussion. Apparently, it's not a consensus that he's a redshirt junior. So there you go. He did play for UCF, which I didn't know. And I don't care because the game that everyone's actually going to watch is the 7:30 ABC game. I'm sure game day is down in Tuscaloosa this week. It's the number 4 Alabama Crimson Tide, who I have to be giving an A+ to right now, given the fact that I thought they were going to at least fall off a little bit, and they haven't so far with how they looked. Hosting the Georgia Bulldogs for once, not in Atlanta, not a home game for Georgia, so they have to go to Tuscaloosa. This is the most expensive ticket. $258 is the cheapest ticket you can get at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Alabama are home underdogs at -2. Micaiah, we'll start with you as always.
This game is why ESPN paid all that money for the SEC. This game right here. That's it. And I say that tongue in cheek. It has the potential to be game of the year stuff. Georgia, everyone knows everything about these teams. Jalen Milroe, Heisman candidate, throws the deep ball, athletic, runner, etc., etc. Carson Beck on the other side, good pocket passer. The thing with Georgia is I haven't seen the separation of wide receivers or the elite playmaking of the wide receiving group like I have in years past. Georgia also close game against Kentucky. I will let them go with that one. They've had a week. Both of these teams have had a week to prepare. If this was Nick Saban, the underdog at home, I'm taking Bama all the way. It is not. It's Kalen DeBoer. Alabama's defense is still just extremely good. They're 6th in the nation, allowing 9 points per game. They're very balanced, 228 through the air, 230 on the ground. And meanwhile, Georgia is allowing 6 points a game, 256 through the air, 145 on the ground. This is going to be what games are made of. It's going to be loud. It's going to be awesome. And I cannot wait for Saturday night.
Well, I'm just saying now, Alabama's winning by at least 2 touchdowns because Georgia is 1-8 against Alabama in their last 9 matchups. And that's not going to change. If they were playing at Georgia, I would feel a little better about this game. But Alabama is looking not quite what they were with Saban, but they're still very good, very good. Georgia, unless they're competing in tickets for speeding, DUIs, whatever,
nice.
Like these games are going to be close for Georgia, and we're going to see that Georgia is actually not where we thought they were. And I mean, I think this is the game where you're at the end of this game, you're going to go, man, I really thought Travis Hunter was my Heisman guy, but you know what? Man, Jalen Miller was right there.
So Georgia has all of these really impressive win streaks. Longest regular, like they're 45 straight regular season win games. Conference wins are up. All of these really impressive winning streak. That all comes to an end in embarrassment fashion. You're saying Saturday night.
Hundo percento cuzzo.
Okay. Alrighty.
Go ahead.
Are you going to blaze over the picks again? Because I do have some upsets of the week.
Oh, okay. I like the upsets of the week. Micaiah. All right, give it to him. Give us to him.
Listen. I think it's pretty much almost every single team. OK State upset of the week, Louisville upset of the week, Fresno State upset of the week, and then I actually like Georgia and Penn State to get it done. So.
You want to know what would also be really embarrassing? If Auburn went and beat Oklahoma.
Oh, that would be very embarrassing. There would be a lot of teams could be very embarrassed on Saturday.
Yes.
Yeah, if LSU, here's my question.
If Texas lost to Mississippi State.
If Texas lost to Mississippi State.
Bro. They got issues if that happens.
So here's the question I have to you about
2007 happening all over again.
Mid-year super relatives. We have them down here. Most likely to get the Jimbo Fisher Award, the honorary Jimbo Fisher Award. Most likely to get fired. Sam Pittman is who you had. I had James Franklin, who still has a chance. He has one more week to prove me right. Who's more likely to get fired? Hugh Freeze in Auburn, if he loses, or what was the other? Oh, Brian Kelly at LSU, if he loses this week. Because they're about the same to me. We've already started hearing rumblings for both coaches that it's like, well,
I think neither should be fired, but probably Hugh Freeze. But the fact Hugh Freeze has been there 3.5 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know how Mike Norvell hasn't been fired yet. His buyout is $6 million. I'm glad he hasn't been fired yet because you can't have constant coach turnover. But $6 million, that's a drop in the bucket compared to what all these other coaches are getting. My favorite upset though is the fact of this week is OK State. They just, as underdogs, they're just really good under Mike Gundy. So OK State over Kansas State on the road.
All right, Robert, give me your picks since I guess Micaiah just blew through his. I misunderstood his question. That's on me. OK State, K-State. Who you got?
K-State.
I think OK State's going to get it done. Louisville, Notre Dame.
Louisville.
I'm kind of with you. I think Notre Dame's due to crap another egg. They're really the teens of Michigan, the 2000 teens. Georgia, Alabama.
Bama.
I want to go with you.
Bama Blitz.
I want to go with you.
Southerners say.
So let's go Alabama. I'm going to go Alabama. I'm going to go with the upset. Illinois, Penn State. Robert.
Penn State.
Illinois all day, every day. Fresno State, UNLV. You already have Fresno State. I have UNLV. Those picks don't matter, and we're on to the ones that do. Lock of the week. Quick recap for results for where we're at right now. Micaiah is 10-2 after going 3-0. He's doing better than his wife right now, who is 13-7. Go see her picks Instagram at 4th and 1 podcast, where she again is going to make you some money, and so is Micaiah. Me and Robert
and TikTok 4th and 1 pod,
and TikTok at 4th and 1 pod. Me and Robert are not 4-8 and 3-9. I have those flipped. I'm 3-9. He's 4-8. He went 1-2. I went 2-1. My only one I didn't get wrong was USC, which was very, very, very close. Micaiah, we're going to go ahead and start with you on your picks per usual.
Okay. Just one at a time? You want me to do all of them?
One at a time. We always do one at a time.
Okay.
This hasn't changed the entire season. Why would it change in week 4?
Sorry. Well, here's the deal. I kind of talked about it a little bit. The fact, and this number's grown. This number's now 18.5, and I think that's kind of asinine. People are falling in love with Penn State. This is kind of the first real defense Penn State is going to play. I'm not saying Penn State isn't good, not saying Illinois is bad, but I am saying that Illinois deserves to be getting a lot more respect than 18.5 points. You give me all 18.5 points in Happy Valley at night, I get it, but I'm very impressed with Illinois' physicality early, and I think that they do enough punching in the mouth Penn State early to keep them in the game. Still lose, but they cover.
There you go. Robert, let's go to you next.
All right. So we're going to start the day with a noon game. We're actually going to go for a rivalry trophy game, the Little Brown Jug.
Oh, Michigan.
Yeah. Michigan, Minnesota. I ain't going to pick I'm not going to pick a winner because y'all know I would pick against Michigan because at this point we're all superstitious about it. But over 36. I'm okay with that. That's an 18-18 game. Michigan's defense will probably score one. Michigan's going to run the ball. Minnesota's going to do whatever they might row themselves the boat, whatever they do. But give me the over 36 for Michigan, Minnesota.
I actually had them at over 35 and a half, so you can have that one because I picked multiple. But so I'm helping you out. Over 35 and a half, actually. So
there you go.
Thanks, buddy.
You're welcome.
I have two games that no one will be watching. I just realized. So I'll give you the one that people might actually watch. It's Maryland, Indiana, and you guys talked that you guys sold me on this one. Indiana, the Maryland has not lived up to the hype this year. Has not lived up to the expectations that they could have had. Indiana has outperformed what they should be having. They're getting -6.5 against Maryland. I believe this game is in Maryland, not Bloomington. I don't even know. It doesn't matter. Give me Indiana -6.5. Micaiah, back to you.
Yeah, so that was Robert's Michigan Little Brown Jug over was gonna be one of my picks. So I'm adjusting, but I'm going to adjust with Ohio State and Michigan State. Here's the deal: people might watch this game, people might not. I don't really care either way. The over/under is 48.5. Ohio State has hit the over in every single game they've played by themselves to this point. I do not expect that to change. I expect Michigan State to put up more of a fight and maybe score a few touchdowns on them, but I expect this high-powered Chip Kelly, Ohio State 5-star everywhere offense to just take over. They're going to put up 40 by themselves on Michigan State. Michigan State's probably going to hang 21, but that is well over 48.5. So give me the over Ohio State, Michigan State, 48.5.
I do not hate that whatsoever. Robert.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to Orlando, Florida. We are going to a hot, heavy day. A little hurricane action, so it's going to be a sloppy game. Sloppy game. UCF, Colorado. Colorado as a 14.5-point underdog. How? I don't know. Vegas knows something we don't know, which is usually how it goes. They always have their hand in somewhere. But give me Colorado plus 14.5. And then when they don't cover, I'm going to be pretty mad. And I'm going to go off next week on the podcast. I'm just saying.
You're going to go off because I'm taking two cop-outs here this week.
Wait, you got to catch up or what?
Yeah, exactly. Army Temple, Thursday night football down in South Philly. I'm just going to take Army to beat Temple outright. Just a money line bet there for you. I got Army beating Temple. There's nothing to it. Army looks good this year. They've actually scored more than 2 touchdowns in most of their game. Temple is Temple and hasn't been good since Matt Rule. Enough said. Army money line.
Yeah, so here's the deal. I, of course, picked extra games. I don't really know. I just kind of scroll and don't really know what I'm doing, and a lot of these in the games that no one will watch. So I have 2 of them, but Navy is really impressive. And Navy is taking on UAB, and Navy scored 1,000,000 points, and UAB last week, they're allowing, they're scoring like 30 points a game. The over-under is 57, and my philosophy is you're under until you're not. And at some point, Navy is going to slow down. UAB is going to slow down. They're both coming off of offensive explosions. I expect that to kind of simmer down a little bit on Saturday night. Under 57.5 for UAB and Navy. Don't love it, but I like it enough to bet it.
I don't hate that whatsoever. Robert, what you got for us?
Well, this game right here is the game that no one is going to watch. It is the University of Massachusetts versus the University
I saw this.
of Miami, Ohio. If there's one thing I know, it's that no one's going to watch this and no one gives a rat's ass about this game. Miami, Ohio they are giving 17.5 to Massachusetts. I'm taking it because I don't trust Massachusetts about as far as I can throw them. Even though it's a 1-3 versus an 0-3 matchup, and I'm sure if I went to this game, I would spend more time at the concession stand buying cheeseburgers and wasting my life away because I would have wasted money watching this abomination of a game.
What's the pick? Plus 17 UMass? Plus 17.5
Actually,
UMass?
it's Miami, Ohio, minus 17.5.
That's your pick. Okay.
Everyone
Yes.
should note Robert has not done well picking large favorites
Yes.
in his pick segment. And two, I said that UAB is coming off of a good high explosion offense win. They are not. They are coming off of a loss to Arkansas, 37-21, which is why I like this game even more. The under of 57.5.
Hey, listen, it's not a sexy pick, but we're going to end on it. And it's very easy. It's James Madison straight up over Ball State. And that's the 4th and 1 podcast.
Simeon trying to get back in it. Hit some layups, my dude. Wash your hands and build the animals.
Some of us just like to live large. I hope you go 0-3.
Dude, I would die.
We're still recording.